Readers Entertainment Radio presents Booklights with your host, author Lisa Kessler. Booklights, where we're shining a light on good books.
Why, hello, everyone. It's Monday again, and this time I'm back in the host spot. Last week was so fun because I had a book out, and so Sheila English took over being the host, and I was the guest. So anyway, that was super fun. But I'm back in my host chair this week, and I'm super excited because we have author Cynthia Diamond on. And if you've never met her, you're in for a treat. And I also know her because we're both San Diego writers, so it's always fun for me when I can have a friend on the show because I know they have great stories to tell you. So if you haven't read Cindy yet, or Cynthia, I will read her bio for you so you can get to know her. Cynthia is an award-winning paranormal romance author that writes for sassy nerds with a sharp sense of humor. Starting her adult life in theater, she earned a Master's of Fine Arts in Costume Design, but her first love was telling stories. After some encouragement, she dove down the writing hole, creating magical worlds, snarky heroines, and sexy heroes with a dash of cinnamon roll. When not telling tales, Cynthia is a geek, a costumer, an amateur artist. She resides in sunny San Diego with her husband, Max, 2 cats of varying intelligence, and a ton of goldfish. I did put a link to her website right there on the Blog Talk site, so you can click that anytime and check out her books and see what else is up. She also has some audiobooks out. And so without any further delay, Cindy, you there?
I am. Hi.
Hi. I'm so glad you could come on. I'm so excited. So you have a new book out, right? You have a new book out, Trickster Business, right? You want to tell everybody why they should get it this week?
Yes, I actually just came out last month. It is the 6th book in my series called Weird Love, but you don't have to read any of the books before it. I try to do everything very standalone, though I will say you get a little more out of it if you start at the beginning, but you don't have to. And this one I'm really particularly proud of. It kind of turned into paranormal romance comedy with a dash of Game of Thrones. And it involves mages and the Fae and a lot of deal makings, a lot of steamy times. It was really fun to write. And I spent a long time working on it, so there was a lot of work that went into it.
And these books have really quirky, amazing characters. I know all of our little writing group talks about a couple of them. Can you just give people like a little taste of who some of these people are that they'll meet in these books?
Oh, yes. I run the gamut with my paranormal romance. I don't write about one species. So it's not like, hey, she writes werewolf books or she writes vampire books. I kind of like cherry pick throughout the fantasy world. This book in particular, we have a trickster fae. He's the king of the tricksters named Galen the Gregarious, and he lives up to that name. He's a lot more arrogant than any other hero I've ever written, and he's very sure of himself. He thinks he's hilarious. He really is not that hilarious. And he's extremely charming, and he goes toe-to-toe with a minor character who in my first book started out as an antagonist. And this is kind of her redemption arc. And her name is Wendy, and she is a mage. She also thinks she's the smartest person in the room. And she is a mind maid, so she is
really?
very manipulative. Actually, most of the time she is.
Okay.
She actually does live up to her arrogance. So she's pretty damn smart. And she started out as an antagonist, just a very minor character. I had absolutely no intentions to make her a main character until like halfway through my series when my mother, of all people, who reads my books. And that's a little weird because, you know, when your mom reads your sex scenes, it's a little strange. But it's she likes them. But she asked me, so when's that character Wendy going to have a book? And I was like, what are you talking about? She was just kind of this throwaway character. And my mom's like, no, I want to know more about her. And then the plot bunnies were set loose in my mind. And that's how Trickster Business came about. So it's definitely a redemption arc where she kind of starts out as this kind of unredeemable, arrogant, just kind of mean-spirited person. And she just kind of turns it around. But I really do my best to try to keep her as still arrogant, despite the fact that she learns a couple lessons. She's always going to be Wendy no matter what. She's definitely one of my most in-depth heroines I've ever written, and she was a blast because it was really fun. I mean, it's fun to write heroes that are arrogant or flawed or anything, but when you get to write a heroine who gets to have that same arc, it's really fun and in some ways difficult because some people can be a little more unforgiving when you try to do that with a female character. So this was really fun to kind of turn it on the head and say, well, she's horribly arrogant and horribly smart, but, you know, she still has a heart too.
Right. And was your mom happy with the end result?
Oh, yeah. She was all like, thank you. And the funny part about the whole thing was my mom totally forgot she even asked me that. So then she asked, like, it was hilarious because I wrote the book. She's in the dedications. She read the book. She went, thank you. What made you write that? And I'm like, Mom. We had this
Come on, Mom.
Yeah. He's like, well, that was years ago. How am I supposed to remember that? It was like, read the dedications. So yeah, but she liked it. She did. She was very pleased with it. So.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad since you wrote it for her. I'm glad she enjoyed it.
Yes, that would have been a bummer if she was like, well, it was all right, I guess. You know.
So what is the Weird Love series? Does it happen in our world today, or is it in a fantasy land? How does it all unpack?
Yes, it's actually set in a modern day. It's mostly set in the U.S. A lot of books are set in San Diego, though this new one, Trickster Business, is actually set up in a fictional town I wrote named Whitmore up in Washington, which I don't know. I'll be honest, I don't know a ton about Washington. I have a friend of mine who lives up in that kind of area near the Cascades who was like, you know what, I can help you kind of make up a town. And she helped me make up Whitmore. But thank God for her. But it's set in today's world, today's time, and it's all about, the weird is actually the magical force where all the myths comes from. So dragons and fairies and everything, it's this magical force that regular humans cannot see. So they're living more or less in secret. Like, they don't want the humans to know, but they also interact very regularly with the humans. So, like, there'll be a wizard who works in a coffee shop or something like that. But they're secretly a wizard, but nobody really knows that they're a wizard except for, you know, other wizards. So that's really what that's about. There's usually overarching storylines, nothing really severe. The first four books, which is centers on the Constance family. The first three sisters in the first three books, they are half-bloods, which means they are part human and part whatever species they are. And they were adopted by a woman named Sybil Constance, who started out as a nun, found out about the weird, realized that there are some pretty dangerous elements, decided to leave the veil and fight the evil, pretty much, and trained their adopted daughters to do this. She adopted these half-bloods and kind of trained them to become like the weird police, essentially. Those first three stories follow the girls. The fourth book is about their estranged brother, who is a full-blooded mage, who kind of Sybil adopted unintentionally, and his redemption arc, because he starts out as a bad guy. And then the fifth story, actually, it starts a new story arc, but you get to know more about the full-blooded weird. So that one kind of starts a completely different story arc, and then I kind of bounce back to the Constance sister storyline, because Wendy is actually the cousin to the Constance girl. So I kind of bounce back and write her story, and now I'm bouncing back to the other storyline. But it is urban fantasy, so I love writing worlds that take place in our time, in our area, in our world, and it's about the magic you don't see. And I just love writing about that, and how, like, it's fun to walk down the street and see something strange and go like, well, how can I explain that? And then, you know, then another story idea pops in my head.
So did you ever, I have to ask because I love Grimm, but did you ever watch the show Grimm, where only if you were related to the Grimm fairy tales you could see who people really were?
Actually, I have not watched that show yet, and you're like the seventh person to recommend it to me, and I feel bad because I haven't watched it yet. I really do.
Well,
I have nothing against it.
I think it's on Amazon Prime, so you got to watch it because it's that same kind of thing where they live among us, but only certain people can see, their real face. So anyway, it's pretty wild. That's very cool. Okay. Yeah, now that you're locked inside, you got to binge.
I know. I'm running out of series to binge, so I'm always open to recommend.
Okay. Well, you let me know when you're ready to discuss because I love that show.
Oh, God, yes.
So I always ask when people come on, can you tell our listeners about your writing journey? What made you, did you always want to be a writer, or did you wake up in college and go, hey, I have this story idea? How did that all happen for you?
In the most roundabout way possible. I was a theater major. I was a theater kid in high school and in elementary school. I studied musical theater for a very long time. And ended up switching over to costume design. But in between, I'm also a huge nerd. I did a lot of tabletop role-playing games throughout my adult life and a lot of online role-playing games. And that's where I used to come up with, characters and story ideas and story arcs, and it was really fulfilling for me. And I didn't really think much about, I'm going to do this as a career. Well, I finished school. I went to work in the real world, and my online RPGing and a lot of my tabletop RPGing kind of dried up just because, you get busy. Not so much anymore. I tabletop a lot more now because we're all locked up.
Right, because we're all locked up, yeah.
Exactly. But I just kind of lost that. And it was a little weird because I was so used to just creating these characters out of thin air for the longest time and having an outlet. Well, I was a little well, that kind of sucks, but, I got to work. And so I worked as a designer, and I worked, my 9-to-5 job at the same time. And I started writing, a long time ago, way back in the days of LiveJournal online. I used to write little, funny short stories about my life, just, this is how I met my husband. This was this weird wedding I went to. This is what, and people found it very entertaining because they were just like, you're funny. You write really well.
You're super
and I was
funny.
Cool.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Thank you. and it was fun, but I never really thought I could do this. I just was like, well, this is just something fun for me to do. Well, a romance writer who I loved and my mother loves, I started following her online. This was way before Facebook became really super duper into it. And she had a forum on her website. And I would just kind of chat every once in a while on there. Well, she ran this contest, and it was about hey, write a short story for my newsletter about how you met your significant other. And if the one that I like the best gets, you get a prize, here's a signed book type of thing. And I was all cool. But then I realized that, oh my gosh, the deadline was today when I wrote that post. And I'm oh, well, that's but you know what, I'm going to write it anyway. So I wrote this quickie short story about how I met my husband, which is within itself its own romance novel comedy on its own. And I sent it in and with an email that just said, oh, hey, so I know I missed the deadline, but I wanted to send this in anyway. And, because I think it's kind of cute. You might enjoy it, whatever, bye. Sent it in, did not expect to hear anything. The very next day, she sent an email back saying, are you a writer? And I was like, no, I'm not actually. I'm a receptionist right now is what I am. At that time, I stopped designing. I got very burned out. And I was kind of looking for something because I felt like this was my calling. I'm going to be a designer. I'm going to work on Broadway. And that's just never how it turned out. So I was a little empty, and I was looking for some fulfillment. So when I got that email, and she was like, do you write? Are you a professional writer? And I'm like, no. And then she said, well, and she sent me back an email that was just, well, maybe you should consider it. This was really well written. And I was like, okay. And so she And I thanked her profusely. I said, I never thought about it. She's all like, you're really funny. You've got a good sense, of writing. And then I said, okay, well, how do I do that? I've never even considered doing that. And she was very kind and sent me literally a 2-page email about, okay, this is what you do. And so she taught me it was a crash course in writing a synopsis, writing this. She was the one who actually gave me the information about RWA. and like all this stuff. Like it was a 2-page like condensed version of hey, this is how you become a writer. And
that's so cool.
It was so kind of her to do that. I ended up going indie publishing just because at the time, long story why I made that choice, which will probably take another half hour to like talk about. But I went indie, but she gave me all this information. This is how you write a query. This is how you write a synopsis. This is my process. You don't have to necessarily do it this way. Here's a guild you should join. Here's some magazines you should subscribe to. And I was like overwhelmed because I was like, oh my God, she's serious about this. She really thinks I'm pretty good at this. And I'm like, what? And so I gave it a whirl, and I went to an RWA chapter meeting in San Diego and met these amazing people. You were one of them, and got to, and learned things from these wonderful writers who were so open with their experiences. And it just kind of went from there. And I'm always learning. I still, to this day, I've got like some massive imposter syndrome. So I'm still this day going, well, I'm kind of a writer, I guess. I write books, I guess. And it's like, you've got 6 out, girl, you're fine.
Yes, right?
I can't get over that hump, but it was really, that's kind of how it started. And then I wrote my first book, and people really liked it. So they were like, are you going to write a second one? I want to learn more about these characters. And so I wrote a second one, and then people started getting more into them. And then right around the third book, the third book actually finaled in the Prism Awards, which was a paranormal romance award that I consider extremely prestigious. And finaling with my tiny little book about a werewolf next door and a neurotic dryad, I was like, oh my God, are you kidding? And I'm still stunned to this day that book went as far as it did. I ended up placing second in the light paranormal category, which blew my mind. And that was the first time ever I was like, oh my God, I might be able to do this. And then
right? I might be a writer.
I might actually write. Who knew? I mean, it was like one of those, this was something I just did for fun. And then all of a sudden my fourth book came out. And it placed again in the Prism Awards, and then it won the San Diego Book Awards for Best Romance, which blew my mind, mind you. And that was right about then. I was like, I actually think I'm a writer.
Oh my God!
What? And it was, so that was really exciting. And now I'm on my 6th book, and it's the first time I actually really use the title author in front of my name. Like for the first time ever, I actually go like, yes, I'm an author, instead of going, yeah, I do that writing thing, which is what I've been calling it since 2015. And so I mean, to this day, that's kind of how I weirdly fell into writing. It was this weird gradual thing that just kind of happened out of like, I need something to fulfill my life. And now that I'm, currently without a day job at this time, I'm like, well, this is what I'm going to have to do, and this is what I'm going to do. And so, and it's been an adventure, and I definitely don't regret any minute of it. It's been probably one of the most fulfilling things I've ever done.
Oh, that's so cool. And people who don't know you, you have so many, you're so creative. So beyond the writing and the costuming and the cosplaying that you do, you also draw. And
yes.
Do you draw the characters first, or do you draw them after you write the book?
It depends, actually. I have a really strong illustration. That's what I studied mostly in costume design with costume illustration. So I have a really strong attraction to drawing my characters. Sometimes I have to write them a little bit first to kind of get a handle on them and go, okay, now I can see them in my head. So now I'm going to sketch them out. I usually start sketching them out maybe halfway through my first draft. And it's usually, just on a whim where I'm like, I need to see this person in my head, and I draw it out. Other times I have such a clear picture of who they are. Like, for example, the hero in my 4th book, Alchemy's Hunger, Tony, actually was created in book 1. So I had a really good handle on who he was. So when I would sit down and do some sketches just to kind of free up my brain, I could slam him out in 2 seconds and go, that's him, that's what he looks like. But for example, Galen, who is my hero in Trickster Business, I was building him from the ground up in that book. So it took me a couple tries. I started the book, and then I'd sketch him out, and then I'd go, no, that's not right. And I would put that away, and then I'd write some more, and I'd go back and I'd sketch him out again and go that's a little closer. And now that the book is actually out, I finally feel like, oh, yeah, I got them right now. And I actually can sketch them out without even, like, blinking. So, but it took a while.
That's so cool. And if people go to your website, do you have drawings of what they all look like on there?
Not yet. That's the one page I have not had a chance to put up yet. But I am going to be putting up a fan art page pretty soon just because my sketches have accumulated so much. For a long time, I was keeping them pretty quiet and pretty private. But now that I'm actually starting to kind of
Sorry, I've outed you.
People like them. Yeah, no, it's okay. I'm totally fine with it.
Oh,
I've already made this decision before the interview.
Oh, good. Okay.
I share my artwork actually mostly on my readers group, my Weirdlings page, and people really like it. And it's weird because for the longest time I was always I got to keep my art life and my writer life separate, and I don't know why I had that in my head, but I was just kind of like. I don't know why, to this day, why I always thought that. Like, art over here, writing over here, I can't have them cross. And just within the last couple of years, I'm like, well, that's really stupid. I really should, like, meld them together because the sketching part is a huge part of my writing process. And so I'm going to be tossing up a page pretty soon of all my sketches that I do of my characters just because, they turned out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with them, so...
Yeah. And, I don't know if you've thought about it, but I make Pinterest boards for all of my books. So I'll have, scenes from Pirate's Persuasion up there. And so readers, after they read the book, can go check it out and see, what the different places. I try to put pictures of the settings in there and pictures of what I envision the characters looking like. And it's so funny to get notes from readers that are like, oh, my God, that's exactly how I pictured Drake, and all that or whatever. And you could do that, like, with your own drawings and, have them up there. I don't know. It's a very cool idea.
Yeah, I do a lot of celebrity casting. Like, I just kind of, like, I watch movies and I'll see someone and I'll go, like, that's the guy I want to play so-and-so, and that's the woman I would love to play so-and-so. But honestly, sketching is always the best way. Once I see, like, an inspiration of that person could play that, but I'm like, but not quite, and I want to draw them out of how they look. And it's really a good exercise on developing the character because once I kind of see them in my head, I know what their personality is. I know what their history is. It just works really well.
That's so cool. I love that. So I teased everybody at the beginning that you have some audiobooks out, but I was with you when you were going through that process, and I have just started putting out my own audiobook. So tell everybody what that was like.
Oh, it was actually really cool. I can't even say, it was a mess. It never was a mess. It was actually putting an audiobook out was easier to me than writing the darn book. But I have 3 out. The fourth, my first 3 books, Siren Song, Valkyrie Spear, and Dryad's Vine, are all on audio. And the fourth book, Alchemy's Hunger, will be starting in production this fall. They are expensive to produce, unfortunately, so I can't do more than one a year. But they're so fulfilling. I ended up going through a distributor, and I got to audition narrators, and I found this one gentleman who I will say is like a cross between an angel and a fae, because his voice is amazing. I made friends with other writers who work with him, and we all call him the Siren because his voice is wonderful. And he's also extremely kind and extremely talented. And his name is Michael Fieriolo, and he is my narrator. He can do any accent you can throw at him. And I just found him on a fluke. And the reason I lucked out so much with him was because he also does all his own sound mixing. So he actually does all the mixing, all the editing. He makes sure everything is completely clean and then gives me the finished chapter. And if there's any notes, I just give them to him like, oh, this is mispronounced wrong, or this is weird. And he'll go, oh, okay. And he'll go back and fix it within an instant. He also composes the themes for all my books. So he's also a music composer. And so now my books have music themes. The first one does it. The other 2 do. And I was like, what? It's mind blowing. And
that's so cool.
And I really, it was amazing. I always thought, well, music's for the people who are published through publishers who have money to do this. And he's like, no, I can write the theme. And I'm like, what? And he's also extremely
And it's
kind.
just at the beginning of the book?
It's at the beginning and the end of the book. He plays the themes.
Oh, so cool.
And they're beautiful too. He composed them. He mixes them. They sound like full orchestrations. I don't know how he does it. He's a musician first, narrator second. But you would never guess that because, boy, does he act the heck out of those books. And it's fun because I worked with him. I gave him the manuscript. I give him like really quick character notes, like this is this character. He's like this. This is her. She's like this. I give him any notes of this person should have a Russian accent or this person is from the South or something like that. And I give him that information, and then he just runs with it and would send me his chapters in Dropbox, and I review them. And then at the end, I just upload it all up and wait for it to show up on Audible. And it's very simple. He makes it very simple, which I really appreciate. And his performances are so spot on and so wonderful. I look forward to doing audiobooks every year with him because, one, he's so much fun to work with. And two, there's something really exciting about hearing your own story. I listen to my own stories. I know a lot of people are like, I can't do it. Maybe I'm a big egotist or something, but I love listening to my audiobooks, maybe because I really love Michael's voice. So,
I do too. And, you know, as a writer, we live in our little cave and we put things down and we hear things in our head. But when I hear the narrator do it, I'm like, oh my gosh, it like brings a whole different dimension to the story. I think I don't get weird about hearing my own books because I'm like, oh my gosh, look what they did with it.
I know it's incredible, and it's funny because there's a couple scenes in my first book, Siren Song, that are very, very emotional, and he acts it out. He doesn't just read the words; he actually acts them. So it's like listening to a radio drama when he narrates. And he wrote this one scene. He read through one of the big emotional scenes, and I'm sitting there going, "Did I write that? I wrote that?
Right?
There's no way I wrote that." Like, it was just because he acted it so beautifully, and I was like, I'm getting choked up, and I wrote the damn book. What the heck, you know?
Right.
And it was
right.
And so it's exciting when I get to hear them, and he's such a great actor that it's really fulfilling. I actually love making audiobooks. I know some people are like, oh, audiobooks, but oh God, I love it. I love the process. I love working with Michael. I love listening to them when as they're coming out. It's like you're kind of like reliving writing the best. It's like the best parts of writing a book being relived while you're making an audiobook. I guess is my best way to explain how that feels.
I agree. That's a great way to describe it, and it having them bring it to life, and then you can make tiny little tweaks and give them some feedback that should be more sarcastic or whatever. And then when they send it back, you're like, oh my gosh, it's perfect. You know, it's just I know I admire those narrators. It's something else.
Yeah, I know they blow my mind. And he actually has a fan page on Facebook called the Fieri Junkies. In August, he's going to do, I don't know what date yet, a live read of different authors he's working with. And Alchemy's Hunger is going to be one of the books he's going to do a live read from. So he's going to do a short excerpt from it if you want to get a sample of what he's like. And I'm really excited that he's going to do that. He reached out and was like, do you mind if I do this? And I'm like, oh, my God, I'll give you everything I've ever written if you're going to read it. I have no problem with this. You can read my email I just sent you. I don't care. You know?
Right? Yeah, read the phone book. Oh, my gosh. So we're already running out of time, which just blows my mind. How did a half an hour go by? But
I know.
Before we go, I would like to hear from you how you like to connect with readers. I know that nowadays, because there's social media, it's so fun that we can all contact our favorite, writers. But you have a reader group, don't you, where they can be in touch with you on Facebook?
Yes, and I actually communicate a lot on there. It's a lot of fun, and it's called Cynthia's Weirdlings. You can find it on my Facebook author page, which is Cynthia Diamond Author. I have it linked up there, and you can join. It's a small group, but they're all very fun, and they're all very sweet and welcoming. I will be honest, I do most of the posting on there because everyone's a little shy, but I do randomly post. I like to post memes. I like to post artwork. I like to have book discussions. It's really fun. That's really probably the best way to get a hold of me. But I also have an email, cynthiadiamondauthor@gmail.com. You can always email me, too, if you're a little too shy to join the group. But the group is fun. And like I said, no pressure. You don't have to, post something every day. There's really no requirements to join the group other than just don't be a spam bot.
Right. And I did put a link to Cindy's website, and you can also join her newsletter there. So thanks so much for being on today.
Thank you for having me. It was really fun.
Yeah. See you later.
Have a good one.
Thanks for joining us on Booklights. Be sure to connect with us at www.readersentertainment.com for articles, blogs, videos, and podcasts that matter to readers.
From the excitement of nominations to the applause after the opening of an envelope at the big award shows, The Hollywood Reporter is your source for the inside scoop on the moments leading up to and celebrating the wins of your favorite films, actors, and all the people that made them. Follow the race at HollywoodReporter.com for predictions, reviews, and voters. Check out the THR Awards Hub for everything you need for award season coverage. Visit THR.com today and subscribe to our newsletters so you don't miss a beat.
How to have fun, anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.